Chapter 13. Bank Robbers. George and Harold rode their skateboards and all town looking for Captain Underpants, and I can't find her anywhere, he said. Harold, do you think a guy would be like easy to spot? Says George. Then the boys turned to the corner, and there he was. Captain Underpants was standing in front of the bank, looking quite heroic. Mr. Crab! cried Harold. Shh, said George. Don't hold him that. Call him Captain Underpants. Oh, yeah, said Harold. Don't forget to snap your fingers. That's right, said George. Right, said Harold. But before he got a chance, the bank doors flew wide open, and out stepped two robbers. The robbers took one look at Captain Underpants, stopped dead in their tracks. Stunder! Said Captain Underpants. Oh, or I'll have the report of wiggle power. Oh no, whispered George and Harold and George. Nobody moved for about 10 seconds. Finally, the robbers looked at each other and burst out laughing, and they dropped their loads and fell to the ceiling, screamed in and hairstand. Almost instantly, the cops showed and arrested the crooks. Let that be a lesson to you, cried Captain Underpants. Never omitted the power of underwear. The police chief looked quite angry and over to Captain Underpants. And just who the heck are you supposed to be? The police chief turned. Why, I'm Captain Underpants, said the world-greatest superhero, said Captain Underpants, Friday Trucy and all punctuality. Oh yeah, shouted the police chief. Come in, boys. One cop took out of his handcuffs and grabbed Captain Underpants by the arm. Zoom! Uh-oh, cried George. We gotta roll. Together, the two boys zoomed into the waving crowd. Zoom! Waving in the out of the cops and bastards. Harold checked up to Captain Underpants and knocked the stupid hero off his feet. George caught him into the boys. Skate away, Captain Underpants shouted the shouts. Stop! Cried the cops, but it was too late. George and Harold, Captain Underpants were gone. Chapter 14. The Big Bang. After their quick escape, George and Harold and Captain Underpants stopped on a dirt-free corner and to catch their breath. Okay, said George. Let's dehabilitate him quick before something else happens. Kaboom! A huge explosion came from the rear camera shop. Across the street, heavy smoke poured out of the building. Suddenly, two robots with one stone crescent emerged from the smoke and jumped into the old vans. Did I just see two robots get in a van? Asked Harold. You know, said George. Up into a noise. Well, behave or not, said George. We're not getting to improve the read. We are not getting involved. Just then, Captain Underpants leaped for the street corner, dashed in front of the van. Stop in the name of underwear, he cried. Uh-oh, said George. I think we're involved. The two robots stared at the van and swung around Captain Underpants. Unfortunately, the van brushed against his red cape and caught with a mighty jerk. Captain Underpants flipped backward, and the van pulled him along as it drove away. "Grab him!" cried George. The two boys skateboarded with all their might till spinning van grabbed Captain Underpants by the ankles. "Help!" they cried as the van pulled them through the city streets. "Mommy," said the little boy sitting on a bench, "I just saw two robots driving a van with a guy in his underwear hanging off the back by a red cape, pulling two boys on skateboards behind him with his feet. How do you expect me to believe such a ridiculous story?" asked his mother. Finally, the van came to a street held in front of an old iron warehouse, and students stopped made Captain Underpants flip over the roof, and the van crashed through in front of the door of the building. Well, said a strange voice in front of the warehouse. "It looks like we had a visitor." This is the funniest chapter. Chapter 15. Dr. Diaper. George and Harold hid behind the van until a car was clear. Then they sneaked up to the hole in the door and peeked inside. Captain Underpants was all tied up. The two robots were standing guard, and a strange little man wearing a diaper laughing much. "A diaper? Are you kidding me? A diaper? A diaper?" I'm an evil Dr. Diaper," said the strange little man, told Captain Underpants, "and you will be the first villain might take over the world." Dr. Diaper placed a stone castle into a large machine called the Laser Mecha 200. The metal started to light up and make loud noises. Heavy guns began sniffing and sprinkling, and the laser began thumped and shot straight up through the hole and in the roof. Then, after 20 minutes, this laser beam will blow up the moon and spend huge chunks of crashing down upon every major cities in the world, laughed Dr. Diaper. Then I will rise the rumble and take over the planet. Only one thing can help us now, said George. What? Asked Harold. The rubber doggy doo-doo, said George. Harold took off the fake doggy doo-doo and locked George's backpack and handed them into him. Be careful, said Harold. The fake into their hands. With careful, the prime's alarm. George shot the rubber doo-doo through the air. Through the air across the room, and it landed with a plop right at the feet of Dr. Diaper. Yes, whispered George and Harold. Plop! Dr. Diaper looked down at the doo-doo between his feet and turned bright red. Oh dear me, he cried. I'm definitely impressed. Please excuse me. He began to walk towards the restroom. This has never happened to me before. I arrest you, he said. I guess with explain. Oh dear. While Dr. Diaper was changing himself, George and Hal sneaked into the old warehouse and put the robots to lead the boys and began to change. Destroy and prudence, said the robots. Destroy and prudence. George and Hal screamed and ran to the back of the warehouse. Luckily, George found 2 old boards and gave one of them to Harold. We're not going to have to respond, Emily Gramic voice, aren't we? Asked Harold. I hope you're not, says George. Chapter 6. The Excellent Gramic Fun. Warning. The following chapter concerts Gramic series to the 2 boys beating the Tower of Covenants. The only has the blood or illusion order. Okay, let me just skip that page. Flip! Oh, Rama! Okay. Bottle fit. George saves Harold. Harold refuses the favor. Oh yeah. Make noise and box. Chapter 7. The Escape. After defeating the robots, George and Harold turned Captain Underpants. Come on, cried Harold. Let's get out of here. Wait, said Captain Underpants. We have to save the world first. So George and Harold and Captain Underpants frantically looked over at the Lasermanic 200, searching for the way to shut it down and stop the environmental disaster. Said Harold, I think this might be the lever we want. He pulled the sensor, this lever, with a mud. Suddenly the Razor Mac 2000 began to shiver, shake. A huge laser beam turned off. Pieces of metal began to fly off all directions. It's gonna blow, cried Harold. Run for your lives! Not so fast, screamed Dr. Diaper, who had appeared out of nowhere. You have Laser Mac 2200 and you won me one chance to take over the world, but you won't live till you tell. Dr. Diaper pulled out the Diaper Mecha 200 ray gun and pointed at George and Harold and Captain Underpants. Street! Captain Underpants quickly streaked the pair of underwear and shot at Dr. Diaper, and underwear landed right on the evil doctor's head. Help! Cried Dr. Diaper. I can't see! George and Harold ran out the warehouse as fast as they could. Great shot, Captain Underpants, cried Harold. There's just one thing we didn't understand, said George. Where did you get the extra pair of underwear? What extra pair? said Captain Underpants. Wah! Never mind that, cried George. Let's just get out of here before the Laser Mecha 200 thing explodes. The Laser Mecha 200 blew up the churning a part of old warehouse in the furniture. Sailing over red-hot meal in every direction, fire fell from the skies around the heroes, and earth began to crumble beneath their feet. Oh no! cried Harold. We're doomed! Chapter 18. To make the long story short, they got away. Chapter 19. Back at school. George and Harold and Captain Underpants made it a quick spot outside the police station. They tied Dr. Diaper on a lamppost and turned a note to her friend. "There," said Captain Underpants. "That explains everything. Arrest me." Then George and Harold led Captain Underpants back to her school, elementary school. Why are we going here?" asked Captain Underpants. "Well, you have to do some undercover work here." "Yeah," said Harold. Reaching into his backpack, he pulled his clothes and make it snappy. "Don't forget your hair," said George. Captain Underpants quickly got dressed behind the bushes. "Well, how do I look?" he asked. "Pretty good," he said. "Now try to look really mad." Captain Underpants made the nastiest face she could. "You know," said her, "he kind of looks like Mr. Crip." "I know, Harold," whispered George. "He is Mr. Crip." "Oh, yeah," said Harold. "I almost forgot." Before long, they were all back inside Mr. Crip's office. "Okay, Captain Underpants," he said. "George, you are now Mr. Crip. Snap your fingers and listen, George." "Oh, yeah," said George. "Step, you are now Mr. Crip." "Who's Mr. Crip?" asked Captain Underpants. "Oh, no!" cried Harold. "It's not working." The boys tried again and again to the 3D hypnotized, but nothing seemed to work. Said Harold. "Let me see. I'm starting mission for that ring." George checked his pants pockets. Said George. "I think I lost it." "You what?" cried Harold. The two boys scratched frantically through the office, but the 3D hyperring on Trent never was nowhere to be found. "Never mind," said George. "I have an idea." He poured the flowers from a large vase of corner, then poured it on Captain Underpants' head. "What did you do that for?" cried Harold. "I sold him to a carnival," said George, "so this got to work." After a few minutes, Mr. Crump slowly came to. "What's going on here?" he jammed. "And why am I all wet?" George and Harold had never been so glad to see Mr. Crump in their lives. "I'm so happy I could cry," said Harold. "Well, you're gonna cry when I give you the vote to the football team," shouted Mr. Crump. "I've had it with you too." Principal Crump took the videotape out of his camera. "You boys are dead meat," he sneered, stood at his office and with the video headed toward the gym. George and Harold smiled. "What?" said Harold. "Yeah," said George. "I hope sure they like singing Purple Dragons." "Hey, look," said George. "I found the 3D hyperlink included the excellent vendor. It was in my shirt pocket." "No, not in my pants pocket." "Well, I'll throw that thing away," said Harold. "We'll never need it again." "I sure hope not," said George. Chapter 20. The end? The same stunt Harry and Andrew school were never quite the same after through the full day. The football team enjoyed Mr. Krabs' video so much that they changed the name from the Knuckles. The Purple Dragon sing along with friends. The name charge didn't go too long in defense, but who's going to explain a bunch of lyrics? La la la, we love boom, la la la. George and Harold were back in their old ways, putting pranks, cracking jokes, and making new comic books. They had to keep an eye on Mr. Krabs through because something strange reason. Every time he had heard sound of fingers snapping. Prince of all crop turned back into you know who. Oh no! Cried Harold. Here we go again, said George. Fa-la-la. The end. I hope you like the stories. Bye.